So BJ Novak, who is that, right? Best known for his work in NBC's Emmy Award-winning comedy series The Office. So he's one of the people from the TV show called The Office. So you can look him up in that regards, but that's who we are talking about. So let's continue on. So we're gonna start with this section title. Anytime I'm telling myself, but I'm making so much money, that's a warning sign that I'm doing the wrong thing. So anytime he has to tell himself this is something, maybe it's something he's doing, he's like, but I'm making so much money, but in his mind, from his morals, from his, from his conscience, it's like, it's bugging him, but he has to, what do you call it when you justify it by saying, but I'm making so much money. When you're saying that to yourself, more than likely you're doing the wrong thing. It's a warning sign that you are doing the wrong thing. So take heed to that warning sign. So boom, I'm just going to continue on. I think everybody from a child can even get that one, right? If you find yourself saying, but I'm making so much money at a job or a project, pay attention. But I'm making so much money, but I'm making good money, is a warning sign that you're probably not on the right track, or at least that you shouldn't stay there for long. Money can always be regenerated, time and reputation cannot. And that's very key. Time and reputation cannot be regenerated. So you want to guard that more with your life than actually chasing money, right? Because your time and your reputation definitely helps you regenerate money, right? So we're gonna continue on. Getting VIPs when you're a nobody. So this is when he's gonna go into a section where he's talking about getting like celebrities when you don't even have a foundation, or you're a nobody, quote unquote a nobody. So right here we go. BJ Novak came up with two ideas. The first was to honor Bob at Harvard Lampoon, hoping that he would agree to perform in order to receive an award. The second part was the pitch. The second part of the pitch was that all the proceeds from the show would go to charity. This approach was successful, and BJ used it repeatedly later in life. When possible, always give the money to a charity. It allows you to interact with people well above your pay grade. So with this example, I didn't read the whole thing, but with this example, he was a college student. He wanted to bring a celebrity on to be a part of their show or whatever the case may be, but it was another comedian or something like that. He wanted to be a part of the show. So he's like, well, how can I leverage, we have this platform. How can I get somebody interested? Like for me, if I were to be like, how do I get Will Smith or somebody like that interested in coming to my show? At the end of the day, what he did was set up an award, like, okay, we're gonna honor you on this show. This is a show about you because we're honoring you, so you want to be here. But then also, what we make from this show, we're gonna give it to a charity. So, in essence, allowing it or making it seem as if, and you can even not say seem as if, but I'm gonna just say seem as if, just for the sake of not having the right words, but making it seem as if this is a philanthropic. I know I'm messing that up, but this is a good cause. This is all about the charity, which the end results, all of the proceeds will go to the charity, so it will be about the charity. But really, it might be more all about bringing that person on and letting them do their thing, and it won't seem as if you are taking advantage of them by making money off of their name, because you're not necessarily making money off of their name. You're bringing money in and giving it to a charity, so you're not making money off their name. But on the other side, you're gaining a reputation. You're establishing your reputation. You're establishing your network. So it's a great way to get started. Is what I'm gathering from that, right? Boom. This is a good one. My wife and I were actually talking about this this weekend, and we actually implemented it on some things this weekend. Like, you know what? We're gonna have to bite the bullet, and I'm gonna just read the section title and then read the highlight, and we could talk more about it, right? Get the long-term goal on the calendar before the short-term pain hits, right? This is, again, he's a comedian, so he's coming from the comedian's point of view. I advise first-time comics to book their first week of shows, as far as open mic commitments, in advance, so they can't quit after the first performance. He learned that you can't make each night a referendum on whether you continue or not. So at the end, let me just continue on this part, and then we'll just get into the breakdown. In essence, schedule if possible, or pay for if possible, for things in advance to prevent yourself from backing out. Make commitments in high energy states so that you can't back out when you're in a low energy state. So I'm bringing that up because this is very valuable, and I need to get better at this. I'm pretty sure you need to get better at this. Everybody needs to get better at this. But this is one of those things, like when you are in a state of, this is a great idea, I'm going to do this, go ahead and take action and at least put it in a place. Like, you already made the payment, you already did what you had to do, and in order to make that happen. Because if you sit on it, you're gonna come up with reasons why you should, or why you won't do it, or come up with reasons. You give I guess low energy states time to come into play, and then that affects your reason, or your outcome, or your reasoning, right? If I'm being clear, so I'm gonna just give you an example, right? We currently have a vacation coming up. In one of the, you can even go back to previous vacations. We have vacation coming up, and it was kind of like, let's go ahead and book it now, even though the prices are kind of high. The prices are kind of high, whatever the case may be. Let's go ahead and book it now because we're excited about it. We watched about it. We've done everything about it. But go ahead and book it now. Plan it now. Do all the stuff now, and then don't necessarily worry about later on down the line, a few months down the line. Because again, if you try to wait, something else might happen, like, man, that's going to keep me from doing my vacation, or that's going to keep me, I can't do it. Just go ahead and, when you have the funds, do it, and it'll be on the books and you can't back out of it. So let's go back to his example, like with the comics. He's essentially saying, like, if you're a comedian, book your shows, like book a week full of shows or a month full of shows, or book them all. So when you do go into, you have your first show, and your first show doesn't show, you don't perform that well, or you don't seem to perform that well, you don't just give up, like, man, this isn't for me, and it allows you an out to get out. Like, well, I did one show, I don't think this is for me, I'm just gonna, do something different. When in essence, if you book a whole bunch of shows, or a month full of shows, well, you might bomb that first night, you might bomb that second night, you might bomb that third night, but you're committed, you already put it in the books that these shows need to be done. So that's gonna make you put your feet to the fire, make you go to these shows and do what you have to do to be a part of the show. So maybe by the 5th or 6th show, you're like, well, I kind of found a couple of jokes that work, so I'm gonna do them in my 7th and 8th show. And then you kind of grow from there, like, oh, I found a whole stream of jokes that work, so I'm gonna move that into my 10th, and and so on and so forth. So now it allows you to grow. Again, it's easy when you do that first show to get emotionally vested, like, man, I'm just not good at this. Even myself, some people feel like, I want to say a lot of people, but some people feel like as soon as they try something, they're going to hit the, knock the ball out the park. And that's not going to be the case. I don't care what it is. That's never going to be the case. You're never going to pick up something and knock it out the park on your first try. So really maintaining that high energy state for as long as you can, but actually just making a commitment to making a hard commitment, not a mental commitment, but a hard commitment, like putting up money, or booking it, or telling somebody you're going to be there, where now you are committed to being there. You have somebody else going to hold you accountable. That's going to help you get through those lower state experiences, I guess you could say. And the lower state experience in this example being when you bomb a show and it didn't turn out as good as you expected. If you don't have a commitment to anybody that you told them that you're going to be, you're like, you know what? Nobody's even worried about me coming to the next show, so I'm not going to even do this anymore. Whew. So let's just continue on, right? I think y'all pretty much get that. The importance of the blue sky period, right? This is actually what I consider, this is called the brainstorming period from my background, but the brainstorming, which is my favorite period. My favorite period of all production is the brainstorming period, right? And I kind of come to conclude that some people don't know how to do this because it's so foreign to their natural way of thinking. And we're just gonna bust into it, and I'm gonna just tell you my perspective. And I think we can pretty much wrap it up there. What I'm trying to do is make this a little more shorter than previous. So we're just gonna probably just end it here. We'll see after. The importance of the blue sky period. The season writing process for Office began with the blue sky period, which was BJ's favorite part of every year. For 2 to 4 weeks, the writer's room banter was each person asking "what if" over and over again. Crazy scenarios were encouraged, not penalized. Every idea, no matter what, was valid during this period. The idea generation and filtering editing stages were entirely separate. As BJ explained to me, everything is an idea and everything is idea and execution. And if you separate idea and execution, you don't put too much pressure on either of them. So again, why I call this the brainstorming period? It kind of goes back into computer graphics production. Like if you were creating a feature film or something like that, there's a period where everybody is in a room and just throwing ideas out there. And the thing is, the reason I love this concept is because there's no wrong answer. There's no like that's a dumb idea. There's no anything like that. You really have to tune yourself to free your mind from all limits, like limitless possibilities. Really free your mind of all limits, and not necessarily, again, like he was saying, not necessarily getting caught up with the execution. Just stay in the idea phase. The execution is a whole totally different thing. So as long as you're in the idea phase, you could dream up so many different possibilities, so many different things, and not necessarily worry about how are we gonna do that. That's not possible. Our machines limit us from doing that or whatever. Just staying in the idea phase and really letting that bubble up to see what actually sticks. And then when the whole group finds something that sticks that they can all kind of, if you want to say agree with, but find a direction, then it's kind of like now that we found what we want, what execution, what do we need to set in place to make that idea happen? And this could go across the board, just like people that are in the mentorship. It's like, don't necessarily worry about how. Don't worry about how you're going to do X, Y, Z, whatever your company is, whatever your idea is. Don't worry about how at this point or at a certain point at the beginning stages. Just what's your idea? What's your idea? Don't worry about, oh, that's going to be too hard, or that's something that's not even done before, or what's your idea? And then once you establish your idea and establish your vision, then finding the tools that allow you to bring your idea to actual to be tangible, put it like that, right? So boom, we're just gonna continue to rock out. I emphasize that because that's a very, very important element to creativity. It's just remaining limitless as far as ideation. And then once you're limitless and you come up with ideas, then you just can pull the resources together a lot better. I'm gonna give you a quick example. Yeah, because that's our last one. Actually, that's not our last one, but I'm gonna give you a quick example anyway. So just imagine, like back in, let's say 2000, before the iPhone and all this stuff. If Steve Jobs was like, I have an idea for a phone that has no buttons, it's just a screen and so on and so forth. To some people, if you separate ideation and execution. In ideation, if they try to mix with execution, they'd be like, that's impossible. We barely have we still have flip phones. How would you have a cell phone that doesn't have any buttons? How will we How would you manufacture that? What kind of processing would that take and everything else? So that would never happen if it was no ideation that was that didn't have limits. What's the word I'm looking for? That was not limited by execution. It wasn't limited by execution. So the ideation is not limited by execution. Then when you come up with the idea, then let's figure out how to make that happen. Let's figure out how to execute that. Then that's a whole different process, right? So I think y'all really get it, you know, with that. I just have to throw that one little one out there because, again, the iPhone was very innovative, and there's so many innovative things out there in the world even today. Just imagine, like, we're in 2020. Just imagine from 2000 how many great ideas have come out of seemingly nowhere, but really it is out of somewhere. It's out of ideation, and then like, okay, now I know what I want to do. I know this component does this, and I know this component do that. Well, what if I mix these two to do this? And those, inside of that ideation, you create new processes that people didn't think of to connect before, right? So boom, let's just continue on, right? I was gonna stop, but I'm gonna get the advice to younger self for BJ, right? So BJ Novak gives advice to his younger self. BJ was very anxious during the first season of Office because he was always trying to write something extra on the side that he never had time to finish. He really didn't stop to enjoy the incredible once-in-a-lifetime experience of The Office. BJ wishes he had told himself back then that it was a very special time in his life and that he should own it and enjoy it instead of being so nervous for what ended up being no reason at all. So again, he was nervous during his prime, or I wouldn't call it his prime. If you're watching BJ, it's you got more things to do. So what I'm saying is, during one of the a high period in his life, put it like that, a high time in his life, he was concerned about creating more or being relevant more. And he's gonna go into that in a second. So he says, and you know what I always tell people all the time, if Will Smith isn't in a movie for 3 years, you're not walking around saying, where's Will Smith? Nobody's paying attention to anyone else at all. You think everyone is, but they're not. So take as long as you want. If you're talented, you'll get their attention again if you have a reason to. So again, he was writing on the side just to try to keep the ball rolling, out, with The Office. Like, let's keep the ball rolling. Let me write on the side, and stay relevant. But his example is like, if you're talented, people can wait years till you drop something new. They'll wait years, and then when you drop something new, it's like you're back. Like, oh, he's back. He's dropped another one. Like, and people were grateful for that. So don't get caught up in like, oh, if you want to use social media, for example, don't get caught up with like, oh, let me continue to make video after video and burn myself out. When at the end of the day, if you're giving value daily, every time you post a video or whatever the case may be, if you're giving value, it doesn't matter how many times you post for your followers. It doesn't matter how many times you post. As long as you come with that value, they're going to continue to look at or watch and look for you. Like, so when you let it be known, like, oh, I'm about to do this new thing, they're going to be there, right? So you'll get their attention again if you have reason to, at the end of the day, right? And one of the things that, as far as with social media, one of the things that I highlight as far as content creation, and you probably noticed it as far as the live at lunch, where we post every day. But one of the things I highlight with content creation is that, you're fighting the system. We want to say fighting. You're trying to make the system or make the artificial intelligence or whatever work in your favor. So that's why you see people post 3 times a day, 4 times a day, because they're trying to get the algorithm to work in their favor so more people will see their content. So at the end of the day, that's why people post multiple times a day. But with that being said, I'm bringing that up to really say, at the end of the day, if it was not for the algorithm and you were just a movie maker or a producer or a songwriter or a rapper, whatever you might do, don't worry about churning out music or churning out whatever. You drop it when you drop it, and your following will appreciate it when you drop it. So don't get caught. Enjoy your moment, while it's happening, and don't get caught up on the next moment and trying to stay relevant. Just enjoy your moment while it's happening, and then, be inspired by that to produce something else that you can drop later on. But don't feel a pressure of constantly creating content or constantly doing that, unless you are trying to grow a following on social media. Come with that value, 3 times a day or whatever the case may be, but come with that value. I personally, I don't know if I could do 3 times a day. I do what I can, I have a life outside of this just like everybody else. So I do what I can, but the main thing I emphasize is come with the value, right? So boom, we're just gonna leave it there. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video, this live at lunch today. If you are not a member of digitalrem.com, make sure you go to digitalrem.com. That's digitalrem.com, and get your free membership. That's going to give you access to our course, or our beginner course libraries. One of the beginner course libraries being how to start your business, how to set up your LLC. So again, you'll be able to do it yourself. So you only, with the amount you will probably end up spending to set up one LLC, now you're able to set up, you have the knowledge, you've gained the knowledge, do it yourself to set up multiple LLCs and things like that. So again, showing y'all how to do these things, showing y'all these different processes where it's a lot of do it yourself. Again, that's what Digital REM is all about. We're taking elements and showing you essentially how to do it yourself, and take the mystified, nature away from it. If that's a good example or analogy, but taking the magic out of it, like, hey, you could do this too. I kind of think of, like, even when buying my house, like, there's so many things that are like, man, I have to pay somebody to do this. But at the end of the day, if you watch some do it yourselves and learn it, and actually have somebody walk you through how to do something, you be like, I could do this. This is easy. Like, so again, I think everybody could find something relatable in their life that they're like, yeah, once somebody showed me, it's easy, it's simple, it's amazing that people get paid, to even be able to do this, because this is really easy. So that being said, yeah, let's just wrap it up there. Do that one thing, like I always say, y'all should be used to it by now. Do that one thing that takes you closer to your goal today. If it's not today, well, it has to be today. When you gonna do it? You're gonna wait till tomorrow, and then when tomorrow comes, you're gonna wait till tomorrow, so it's never gonna happen? No, do that one thing today that takes you closer to your goals. And all of y'all have a blessed day. Later, y'all. Peace.